Is there a dead actor right in this room that has no idea right now?
Yes. There are two.
So when Gemma killed Tara, it was in the moment. There was no premeditation. It just kind of happened. But what she does kind of next is very premeditated. She has a plan to kind of cover her tracks. Can you talk about like the decision to go into that story writing and how it makes her almost more irredeemable than? Which I would have thought was impossible.
I think it's impossible for Gemma, frankly, now. I don't think there's any coming back from the Fort. Even if she did it with the best of intentions, it's beyond the pale. You know when Jax finds this out, it's not going to be pretty. You know, after all, she can cover her tracks as long as she wants, but sooner or later the chickens are going to come home to roost, and she's going to really have no place to go. So I think she has to do what Gemma does, which is scramble and hope that it works out. And eventually, I'm sure she has a plan to beg for forgiveness, but it may or may not work.
I see dead people.
May or may not work.
You're always great about giving the fans like the heads up on episodes to watch. So what would you say tell the fans are the key episodes to kind of keep an eye?
Oh, jeez. I want to do this very carefully. Definitely, obviously you got to see the season premiere. There's a lot of hints in the premiere, and some of them are very early in the premiere of what's going to happen later on. Scenes that seem to be just informational about people, I'm going to try not to tease too much. Actually, you'll find by the middle of the season ended up being much more important than you thought they were. I would say probably we've only shot through episode 7 now. And I would say the so far episode that you don't want to miss is, well, let's see. I don't know if I want to say that. Right? Should I say it? Say it? It's 4.
What's the name of that episode?
I can't remember the names because they're so weird.
Do you participate in the naming or just
No, the name just shows up on a script, and usually it's in some strange foreign language, and I have to go on Wikipedia to find out what the name of the episode means. I mean, basically that's it. And usually the episode's not named until Kurt does his final pass. He has a group of writers. We have about 7 writers who write the episodes first. After they've all broken the story, then Kurt does the final pass in the episode, and in that process he names things.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the creative challenges in a final season and trying to come to a satisfactory conclusion for the creative team, for the actors, while still keeping in mind what the viewers may want?
That's a very good question. Well, there's a good tension, and I'll try to say this nicely, in us, because I think I'm probably a little bit more oriented towards the fans, because I consider myself the first fan. And I think Kurt is he's internally oriented. He has a story that he wants to tell, and he's always wanted to tell it. He's been telling for years that he knows how it concludes. And so I think there's a healthy sort of back and forth with how things are presented. Kurt always wins, but I have some slight influence because I direct a lot of the episodes. I'll direct 4 of the 13 episodes this season. I'll do 1, 7, 10, and 12. The episodes, so I have some being on the floor and actually going through every scene, and then I supervise all of the other directors. So I think we're sort of trying to please both people at the same time. I think in the end we'll probably please 75% of those people successfully. 25% will be very, very low.
Did you direct Marilyn or Formula? I'm very excited.
I did. I directed Marilyn Manson, who we call Manson, and he was fantastic. I was really impressed with him. I don't have any Manson records, so I'm not really familiar with his oeuvre prior to coming to Sons. So I knew I had a preconception of what he looked like. When he arrived on the set, as you've seen from that picture, he didn't look like anything like that at all. The makeup was gone, the lipstick was gone, and he performed in such a simple, compelling, frightening way that we're using him again and again. He's recurred, several times in the first 7 episodes as the character of Tully, the head of the Aryan Brotherhood, and a key contact for Jax in terms of getting done what he has to do in prison. because some of this story, as you might gather, is going to have to take place in prison because sooner or later somebody's going to have to get arrested. Yes, and you'll have to figure out who. Courtney, I haven't directed. She just did her first scene. She plays a school teacher.
So great.
And she's completely convincing. And she's one of Abel's teachers, and she's actually kind of fantastic.
Another minute.
Yeah, she's nothing like anything I am familiar with Courtney Love. And when I saw her in her little dress, and her little A-line dress, and the line in the school, picking up Abel and talking to Gemma, I said, wow. If I didn't know it was Courtney Love, I would just think we have a really good actress playing this part that's not quite what it seems to be, and ends up being very important to our plot later on.
Are you directing the finale?
No, Kurt Sutter will direct the finale, as he's done, I think, every season of Sons of Anarchy. And thank God for that, because I don't want to be there when all the crying and the hewing and the hawing ensues. And there's going to be a lot.
Has there already been a little bit of that?
There's been a little bit of it, yes. We've had a couple of sad days already on the Sons, but, that's why people will tune in to see which days are sad and which days are happy. There are more sad days than happy days. So don't be expecting that you're going to get a lot of chuckles.
All right. Thank you so